Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Why Did I Lose? The Prismata series, in which I analyze viewer games and tell you why I think you lost. A reminder of a thing I should be saying in each of these episodes is if you want your games analyzed, and it is still March of 2019, I am accepting comments, submissions in the form of comments on the first video in this series, or on my Reddit post, but not on arbitrary videos scattered throughout the universe, including this one. I will not accept them. It must be on the first one where I announced this series. Okay, so our next game, that is the game for this episode, although I don't know, in principle maybe we could get to a second, probably not, comes to us from Cooled Cannon, also known as TheTrumpWall. I don't know which name is preferred. And actually, I have seen this set because it was posted to the Discord this morning. And I looked at it and said some things, and then later it was added as a comment on my Reddit post. So I've actually seen how the game plays out, which is why I thought this one might go a bit quickly. I guess I may as well like hammer out a game against Masterbot with it. Well, okay. As always, feel free, if you like, to pause the video and see how you would play this set. Okay, welcome back. How big of a game is this? Are you going for big stuff or little stuff? There's good absorb in Xeno, and a lot of soak in Sentinel, Aegis, and Urban, and of course Xeno also. Furthermore, there is economic stuff that, you know, there's a way to get your econ more effectively, which is encouraged, again, by the big absorber defense stuff. And lastly, there is a good payoff for going for a lot of econ, right? Fangs and Tatsus really love to be protected by a lot of stuff. So it seems good. Also, there's kind of like Chrono Filter seems very strong because it fits so well with both Fang and Xeno, right? You're like the extra blue that you have on. You can actually spend your tech as cheaply on the Chrono Filter turns as on the off turns. You just get better stuff on those turns, so you're not like having to figure out how to spend a lot of money and then a little money, right? You know, Fang's as cheap as 2 Tarsiers. Xeno's as cheap as an Urban. And that's sort of what you'd like to be doing. You'd like to be getting those things. Although often you'll need, you know, it would be nice to get a Sentinel. There's lots of stuff it would be nice to do. So I think the big question is, like, do you want Tatsus or Fangs? And I still don't totally understand when Urban is good against Freeze. Urban and Xeno and that kind of thing, right? This kind of vigilant soak. And it's definitely good against stuff like Frostbite, high activation cost freeze, where it costs them a lot to freeze you, and they don't want to make that expenditure against just, you know, to kill a Xeno or 2. They want to make it to breach you for Fangs. But I've had games where I've like piled up this stuff and my opponents have gone for Tatsu or whatever, and I just get hammered because like they can just get enough Tatsus to freeze all my Xenos, and you don't really want to soak with Xenos if it's not costing your opponent anything to make you do it, right? So I don't really know. I think there's like, I think Tatsus are pretty good against this stuff. But also that like Fang Xeno is just a very good pairing. I mean, I'm sure like Tatsu Xeno is a good pairing too, I guess, but importantly, Fang Xeno requires substantially less investment because you can just get 1 Animus and the Chrono that you kind of want anyway. And then on the off turns, you can get like Sentinel Rhino or something for extra soak. So I think that's sort of my general idea, is Fangs instead of Tatsus. and just try to accumulate enough blue-green stuff that an opponent who's going for Tatsus can't get to my Fangs. Is it going to work? I don't know. I can tell you, though, that that was basically, like, those two strategies of, like, Xeno slash... Well, of, like, this stuff plus Fang and this stuff plus Tatsu were the two strategies that the players played in the game. And so having seen... I try to avoid looking at the games before I do them on channel, before I do the replays, so that I'm not, like, biased by what actually happened. In this case, as I said, the game was submitted to the Discord before it was submitted to this series, and so I didn't know that I should avoid looking at it. And I'm just gonna go do what the winning player did. Like, seems easy, right? But, yeah, so in the game, Cooled Cannon tried Tatsus and found himself under too much pressure from just Fangs and unable to, like, actually breach. I don't remember the details, though, of how that all happened. So it may well be that the line that I take is vulnerable to, like, some of the same problems. Masterbot is going to put more pressure on me, but, like, this is clearly not actually good. I'll just get the Chrono now so I can grab my first wall and keep droning. But yeah, I mean, so there's, you know, this is sort of the usual problem about playing against Masterbot is that, like, his line is so bonkers that you don't really... I mean, he beat me in one of these games. Not, you know, in the last season. I did lose in, like, a Tia game. But in a lot of sets, Masterbot's line is just not really conversant with reality. Wow, that's extremely greedy. But it does get me, like, Fang Xeno. Except that I don't have enough tech to defend 6 attack. An opponent will probably have, like, 8 attack, in fact. So... the Fang might be a little optimistic, huh? Maybe... I'd really like to get a Xeno. 3... I only have 5 defense. Like, it's just laughable that I could get a Xeno on this turn. It feels like I should be able to do it, but I'm gonna have 5 defense against, like, 8 or 9 attack. Probably 8, right? He's gonna build a wall because I'm attacking for 1. Masterbot just loves to do that. So he's gonna build Wall Fang next turn. That seems like mandatory. And then I'll have lost 2 NGs. I'll just have these 3 and my wall. And I'm sort of allocating all of this tech to a Xeno, so I don't have any of it available to build a wall with. 5. I can get up to 7 with a Rhino. But that's not really enough, right? So I guess... this? Now I have 5, 7... Ugh! Still not enough? Okay, I guess we're gonna have to delay that last Vivid for a while. Well... actually, I guess the Rhino is our 8th and 9th health. Because 1 extra NG isn't enough, right? A Fang still breaches exact. So I need the Rhino anyway, in which case I might as well get this Vivid. I miscounted somehow. Right, 1 extra NG would have been enough. Why is that? Is it because I was thinking he might get a splitter? No! Ugh. It's because you need to over-defend by 1, and I did that twice. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have 2 defense plus 5 lying around. That's 7, which means I can defend 7 attack, and an 8th would mean I could defend 8 attack. But then I like said, oh, no, I need to over-defend by 1, which I had already done, so okay. I could have maybe gotten away with not having to lose a Rhino on defense here. I obviously meant a Rhino there, not a Tarsier. But, well, I mean, I made fun of Masterbot's line, but actually, like, how good is my line, right? Not that good. Okay, actually it is maybe kind of good. I need more green though. Like I don't know that I want all these NGs. Cause I kind of want to build like Fang Xeno, right? Which means I want to allocate none of my tech to defending. So I'm gonna have like 6 easy defense plus the Xeno is 9 if I really want to do that. Am I overcounting again? I could defend 9 attack, but I expect opponent to attack for 11. It's again just going to be a little bit hard to get out. Oh, actually, you know what? Well, I could do this and Aegis, but then I can't get the Xeno, right? Okay, maybe I don't get a Fang next turn yet, and just start going on Sentinels first. Three, 7, 10. 1 force field is... Okay, I think I actually need more NGs. Feels real sad. But this way I can get like a Sentinel and a Xeno. If I'm willing to lose the Urban. Yeah, I made fun of Masterbot, but I haven't really materialized on my plans yet to like get a bunch of Soak. And he's getting Fangs. Okay. I guess I have a lot of drones. Maybe I should knock it off, huh? I really just want a ton of conduits. I've built up enough econ for it. I deserve it, you know? And these Aegises are so juicy. I get to hold a Rhino if I want. Can even hold a Sentinel. Although I'd kind of like to cash in on that Engineer, like, rather than just give up the Sentinel for health. I think I still can't get my dang fangs. This is the worst. I guess I like had the wrong idea about how big you can go in this set. Like I thought that Xenos would take care of things for me, but you like, oh, this is, I don't think I can do that. You'd have to actually buy attackers or the opponent can just get too many fangs. Yeah, this is over. I'm very dead. Okay. Well. Huh. Well, I gotta ask why I lose before I go back and look at why Cool Cannon lost. I guess I just like went too greedy and didn't really pay attention to how fast my opponent was going. I had a line in mind and I went for it and didn't update it when opponent did stuff that doesn't make sense to me. Like at this point, I think I need more tech. And I can try grabbing like 2 Vivids to make use of, but like at least then I get a conduit, right? Instead of buying 3 drones, I can get 2 drones and a conduit, sort of. And that green is gonna help a lot. And I just kept getting disrespect drones, imagining that like, okay, yeah, I'll get into like having some absorb and pretty soon fangs. But like, my opponent's Tarsiers into Fang was just too fast. And when I got the Xeno down, I was up in absorb, but down 1,000,000 in attack. I'm really surprised that that line worked, though. It still seems like there's too much defense for this to have worked. But I guess if you just leave a red player alone and let them get up to, like, a bunch of attack, not have to defend, and then say, oh, by the way, you can buy fangs, and you can have a wall, like, they get up to a lot of good stuff. Okay, well, ooh, it's kind of an embarrassing start to the episode. But as I've said in my videos in the past, you know, my win rate against Masterbot is like 90 to 95%. It isn't 100, and that game I misjudged. So, yuck, gross, very sad. Let's watch the TheTrumpWall versus Jamberine. Both players going for the 4th NG thing, you know. I still think this like has to be correct, and that there was something I was supposed to have done, like maybe set my sights a little bit lower, aim for just like just get an actual Blast Forge instead of my Chrono Filter, and then I can like get a wall and a Xeno and kind of like be doing stuff every turn instead of every other turn. And that might let me defend enough that I can get the other stuff I want going. I might go back and try that again. But okay, so far both players are doing what I would have guessed they would do in this set. Sure, pick up a conduit, why not? Animus first seems a little greedy, but should be fine. You follow up with like TT, leaving you $10, huh? I predict Cool Cannon will get 3 drones with those $10, but I think it might be better to invest in some blue or some green or both. Okay. Yeah. I just know cooled cannon's an econ main, as they say, right? Tends to go too big more often than too small. And so I predicted maybe get too many drones this turn. But no, the Blast Forge looks quite reasonable to me. And I imagine a conduit quite soon after, right? Oh. I see. I think that missing out on Xeno and Urban is, like, it's gotta be too much this set, right? You just don't have enough econ to commit to Tatsu right now. You're gonna be under too much pressure from someone who's getting Fangs and Xenos. Right, like that's what opponent has set up to do now. Fang Xeno is 13, and then you can get like a Vivid and another Conduit or something, or maybe just a Vivid and a drone. I'm not sure what you want exactly. A drone, okay. Second Forge for triple blue. Well, I guess it's for like spamming Xenos, and then you can just get like a wall or something on. Yeah, you want to spam Xenos because your opponent is getting Tatsus, and if you can buy a Xeno every turn, then buying a Tatsu every turn doesn't freeze them all, I guess. Yeah, I think that this is too greedy. These defenders are what justify going for the big red stuff. My Masterbot game notwithstanding. And likewise, Aegis, right? If you have none of those things, I think you should expect to lose your Tatsus. Oh, I guess opponent can freeze all the Xenos. Whoops. I was imagining we would be ahead, but I guess you have to be even more ahead than that. By the way, did opponent like spend their red last turn? Yes. Sentinel Rhino. I agree with those purchases. That's great stuff to get when you only have 2 red and what you need is Soak, right? If you can afford Fangs, you'd love to get them. I don't know whether you'll be able to on the on turns, but on the off turns, Sentinel Rhino, if you can afford it, is fantastic. Yep, hold the Rhino to defend so you can afford the Fang. Sure, makes sense. Sure, a Pixie Click is good. Should you freeze the Xenos? Probably, but you could consider freezing these guys and make the opponent lose a Xeno? I'm pretty sure that would be bad, but... like, if you really wanted to, you could freeze Xeno Wall. Sorry, Urban Wall, right? And then opponent has to find 8 defense, which means they must lose a Xeno, but they get to absorb on Xeno, and so like I think they're perfectly happy with that. But you make them lose 2 attack as well. No, they just lose Xeno NG. I don't know. This is probably the right freeze, but it's not like totally brain dead obvious to me. And now opponent has enough Xenos to actually absorb on one, which is amazing. And we're sort of struggling here. I think we've basically lost. Opponent has all the green Soak and we don't have any of it. Or absorb. Yeah. So... I think everything up to here looked totally fine to me. This turn also seems fine. This is exactly what I proposed. I wasn't sure whether it should be a Forge or conduit, they both seem reasonable. Given, I guess, that you expect opponent to get an urban, you might want a wall, so sure. But I think this Animus is just not good. You can't play this set without blue-green stuff. Because it's just so good at protecting the big red stuff that you want. Having done that, I think, you know, opponent has to play reasonably well to win, and I don't think I would have found the second Blast Forge play, but on reflection it does seem pretty important. I would have said, I don't want 3 blue, are you kidding? But actually 3 blue is totally great, and 2 blue is especially important and worth the investment. Right, you kind of got Chrono Filter expecting to build, like, to be in a mirror, but then when opponent goes for Tatsu, like, I think your priorities change and you need even more Xenos. I think that's what was going on for Jamboree, but I'm not sure. So anyway, like, assuming opponent plays well, though, I think we're lost at this point. There's just no, like, the second Tatsu, yeah, sure, you get it, because if you only get 1 Tatsu, you're clearly losing. But I think you're also clearly losing if you get 2 of them. It just, like, you know, 18 drones is not really enough. Well, 18 drones can be enough to support Tatsu. But it kind of has to be one where you're building Tatsu and the opponent's not building attackers, right? Where your Tatsus are putting so much pressure on them that they're having to, like, barely attack you, then yeah, sure, 18 drones is enough. But when they're able to pile on, like, 3 attack per turn and that's enough soak for them to live, I don't think 18 drones, like, you can't just buy a wall per turn and live, right? You need other tech. And you need to spend that tech on defense, which means that you won't have enough left for Tatsus if you only have 18 bucks. So I think if you want Tatsus, you have to go bigger. But I don't think you can do that. Opponents just set up to go too fast. Getting the first Fang and Xeno was basically game over. Was it? Could we have responded to this by doing something similar in response? Wall... I mean, what would we even do this turn if we wanted to compete? Wall, of course. Well, it doesn't have to, of course. You could get a Rhino instead, I guess. I don't think you should, but it's absorbing at the moment. But next turn you want a Xeno, right? So... okay, a wall. And... now, I think opponent will maybe not need the second Forge so urgently, and they'll try something a bit slower. I still don't, like, feel good about our spot. But we're doing all right in terms of attack totals, right? I can't get a Xeno and a Sentinel. Help. I want them both. So this is how I might have played if I took over from the point at which we got second Animus and did something else instead. Oh right, we want a Fang. And we kind of want to defend these Urbans, right? We might as well just build 2 walls. That defends them both and saves the green, which is nice. maybe? Sure. Well, we need a wall. Kind of too bad. I'd rather not build one. Also, are we exploiting here? Yeah. Opponent has to defend. Why are we exploiting? Don't know. Because I didn't notice the exploit when we had urbans around. I see. Well, alright, so let's cut one of these for a force field. And that lets us pile on another Xeno. Sure. And now it's actually quite a bit harder to defend over here. Because a wall no longer does it. But okay, we can get that Fang. This is keeping 5 health alive. Not 5, 4. 7. It would be nice to keep 2 more. That's a force field. Seems to be going pretty well for Jamboree still. Yeah, being able to get 2 sentinels, and like we have all these urbans. Yeah, this game's also, I think, pretty over. My intervention didn't help at all. And I think at this point we give up on saving the urbans and we start using them as soak to get out more Xenos. While player 1 just falls apart. I mean, you know, we're not dead yet. Actually, this could be a sentinel because opponent is guaranteed to lose some attack, so we don't need any more defense to avoid the breach. This is 5 health alive. You know, what would be nice is 7 or more health alive, so I like this wall a lot. Aegis was an option, but I don't think a necessary one. Additional drones required. He keeps telling me that, man. What a bummer. Opponent's losing at least 1 attack, so we're keeping alive the Xeno. So in principle, like, we could build a wall to keep the urban alive, but I'd rather just get another Xeno. Lose 1 health. I don't even have to lose any health, do I? Hang on, that's a sentinel. I wanted a Fang. Yeah, let's just get Xeno Aegis. Wow, what a play, huh? And this is just, it's gotta be over, right? Like, I guess not. We can build walls for a while. But it's our turn. We're way behind on attack. We're way behind on defensive tempo. We're 5 drones down. Like, there's just nothing going for us. We're clearly losing in this line. So the turn at which I took over was not gonna get us there. Even though I agreed, more or less, with everything that the player had done up until this point, when I took over for the Trump wall at this point, I then lost the game. So I don't yet have like a what should you have done instead. I just have like, huh, well, if I'd been in your shoes, I sure would have lost. I don't know, I think like we just needed... Maybe the Animus was wrong. It seems good to like pile up some attackers, you know, like Tarsiers and stuff, but I think it sort of just leads inevitably to not having enough defense and to opponent getting all the good units first. Right? Opponent was able to kind of just... You know, this Animus is a really big commitment, right? We have... It made us waste 3 energy. And that's fine if we've decided this is the amount of econ that you want, 16. But I feel like looking at all the units here, you don't say, yeah, 16 drones, that's what I want. Right? With Xeno and a bunch of Soak and Tatsu and Fang as your payload. Like, I think you want more than that. And the Animus just makes it too hard to do those things. You're committed to spending your red, so you can't tech up to the really high-tech units that you want. And so you end up teching to like one of the units you want here, right? But it's not one that's good enough to win the game. So if this had been a conduit, maybe, right? What happens then? Oh, I'm already in analysis mode. Opponent got a forge, and like this. We're doing something similar, I presume, but we can quad drone. I think opponent did this, right? Like, I think after Urban, they just went straight in for the Fangs and stuff. And we can follow and not be so far behind, right? What's the situation now? Opponent has 18 drones and an attack lead. We have 22 drones and we're behind on attack. So the situation feels a lot closer to me here, right? I don't think I would go so far as to say that we're winning. But it's a much less problematic situation. What does opponent do here? Do they want the second blast forge? I don't think so. I think they just want the same thing they did in the other line I analyzed. And now, like, we can get the Xeno, we can get the Fang. Although, honestly, the Fang just runs into their Xeno. It might just be better to get 3 Tarsiers. Since, like, 2 Tarsiers costs the same as a Fang, but saves a red. And then you have a 3rd red available to do whatever with, right? And more importantly, costs the same as a Fang and does the same amount of damage on account of, like, we're not yet attacking. So, I don't know. This feels kind of bad and makes me wonder if, like, we should have not gotten the Chrono Filter yet. But I really wanted the Xeno, so I'm not sure what I was supposed to do about that. Maybe opponent could afford not to get a Sentinel here, but no, Sentinel's just such a slow unit. I think you're perfectly happy to get it now while you can. And it applies a little more attack pressure as well, right? Honestly, give me another Sentinel. I want all the soak I can get. Now opponent can easily add another Fang. 7 defense, they're handled, so... Grab another Xeno? Greed mode? Maybe like this? think I want a force field there. Well, I kind of do because I also need to, like, I need a force field and a wall to defend this urban. Man, I need more conduits. There you go, buy another conduit. That's the solution to that problem. So at this point, we still seem behind, right? Kind of behind on defensive tempo. Opponent has all this like stuff stored up that they've invested in. On the other hand, we have more sentinels. And even though our turn just ended, we don't have more attack than the opponent. And we're only up like a drone. Oh, we have more green income? I don't know. It's like, we have some things going for us here. Maybe. And it kind of looks like we're about to kill some of opponent's attackers, right? Like, I guess not though. 5. Yeah, this defends all the attack. And then opponent gets something like this. Now we're like, unless we do something, we're losing 2 urbans, which is pretty sad. An Aegis would fix the problem, but then we don't have any green. I can't force field. Well, okay, Aegis it is, I guess. I think now might be the time to cash in this defensive tempo, maybe, and let us float some extra green for next turn. 1 force field's fine to save an urban, I guess. We really want a Fang. We really need some defense. No drones. Yeah. I guess this is the best we can do. It loses... well, maybe this? This keeps one Xeno alive, this keeps the other. I can't spend the blue on anything but this, which kind of stinks. And we kind of needed all of this. Sentinel's coming off duty though. It's 5 alive, so opponent needs 2 more defense. Well, that's a force field, which lets them get all kinds of good stuff that they really want. Like this. And look at this, with the Sentinel tempo, we're defended. We can do whatever we want this turn. Get some drones so you can force field one day, maybe? Get another conduit for, like, Aegis plus? Seems a bit rich. But okay, let's try it. Maybe with the rhinos I don't even need that. Maybe I could afford some drones. This is keeping 7 alive. That's losing 1 urban. I think that's fine. When your turn is as amazing as this, you can live with that. Yeah. I mean, the game still doesn't look great, to be honest. But we're keeping what? Opponent's losing an attacker, as I recall. Keeping 8 alive. That's still losing the Xeno, which I don't like. I guess you could do this. Is this... Yeah, this keeps all the Xenos. We keep 11 alive, and 3 less wouldn't have done it, sure. No, don't skip your turn, come on. No, stop. Undo. Alright, 18, we're keeping 2 alive. I'd like to keep 9 alive, so I need 7 more. Well, there it is. I like drones. I like the ability to force field. I'll spend $1 to have the privilege of force fielding 3 more times this game. And like, I don't know, is this gonna win for us? Maybe. We're actually attacking more at this point, right? Than opponent is. But I don't know. I'd like to follow this out some more, I guess. At any rate, it feels better than the line that was taken in the game. But it might just be one that like clearly loses but takes longer, which is like not ideal. What's up here? So we're not killing any attack, I believe, right? Opponent keeps 14 alive, 8, 11, 13. Okay, they lose like a rhino, I guess. Really? I thought I counted things right. 8, 11, 13, 15. Okay, so they are losing a rhino. So they have 15, which means we're keeping 8 alive. A wall defends all the urbans. There's just so much numbers going on here, like I have to do everything so carefully. 19, so right now I'm keeping -1 alive. I'd like to increase that number by 9, or increase it 9, where did I even come up with that? I'd like to increase it by 12 so I can keep 11 alive ideally. There's 11. We can actually just squeeze in a Fang. Very greedy play. Did I miss a turn when Cooled Cannon should have been getting a Fang? I must have. Maybe that's why I have so much defensive tempo. I bought Fangs instead of something good. Or I bought defense instead of Fangs. Man, it's so hard to defend all this stuff. We need 9 more defense. Well, that's 5, 8, 9, more than 9, okay. This is taking forever. We need 12 more health, right? Again, wall, 4, that's 8. So like 2 rhinos. We sack the rhinos instead of the Xenos, I guess. And now Cooled Cannon has this Sentinel coming off its That's amazing. Keeping 7 alive, we'd like 12. We need 5 more. There it is. Oh, I forgot we're losing in a... Ah, I see. It chose to lose 1 Xeno instead of 2 Rhinos. Sure, I was thinking of that possibility, but didn't say anything about it and didn't really have an opinion about whether it's good. It probably is. And honestly, it seems like Cooled Cannon is in a very good spot at this point, right? Like, this is, again, losing an attacker for Jamboree, right? Yeah, you can keep the Urban, but not the Xeno. You can buy another Fang, though. Fangs are pretty good. And we'd like to keep... Remember, opponents losing 1, so they have 17, so we're keeping 3. I'd like 12 more, if possible. I mean, that's 11, right? Bang. Got him. That's worth sacking an Urban for. And this is just horrible. This is horrifying. Yeah. I think we came out ahead in this analysis. Now, like, as always when I do these protracted analyses of games that didn't happen, there's no proof that, like, the thing that I did was right for both players. And so the outcome could have been different. But I think that it really was dramatically better to get this conduit instead of an Animus. You leave yourself a little behind in building attackers, but you get more drones, right? And you would think that would be the Cooled Cannon line, would be buy all the drones. And anyway, getting all those drones and not so quickly on attackers leaves you time to tech up to the important stuff. And then you can actually hold your own in the end game, building a bunch of defense and Fangs, instead of just sort of getting run over when you're struggling to defend your Tatsus on insufficient econ. So I'm very pleased to be able to say that my advice to Cooled Cannon is just econ more, bro. You don't usually get to give that kind of advice, right? Not exactly a low econ player who needs encouragement to econ up. But I think that I definitely have come to the conclusion that that Animus was wrong, and a conduit followed by more drones would have improved things. Maybe it wouldn't get you to the win, I don't know. In my analysis, it did seem better than what I made Jamboree do, but I wasn't thinking as hard about Jamboree's line, right? Maybe there was a counter line that would have still won. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.